Hi everybody, my name is Jerry Ann Massey and I am the inventor, can you believe that, of a new tool. It is called Picture Windows Reverse Applique. So I was learning how to do applique and I came across an idea um, because the Quilt Guild said we're going to do Dresden's next year. And I was like, okay, but I want to do something a little bit different, and the idea hit me, and I'll tell you that story another day. But I want to tell you about my new invention. As a result, I created a tool for Dresden's. This is a 30-degree angle. That means there are 12 blades in the Dresden plate. For those of you who've made Dresden's, you'll know this, but if you haven't, Dresden's are these circle patterns. My tool creates windows within a Dresden. So you can see an upper window and a lower window all the way around here. The cool part about this is you can do a full window if you just ignore this part. You can do a lower window, or you can do an extended lower window if you just do that. 24 different configurations. Today, to show you how to get started, I'm just going to do an upper window. So this is 10 inches tall. I will tell you also that I have a 5-inch tall one. A 10-inch tall blade makes about a 20 to a 21-inch full Dresden plate. The 10-inch makes about, the 5-inch, when you put a whole blade together, it makes about 10 inches across. We're going to work with this one today. I take either a layer cake like this. Each square will give you 2 blades, or with the fabric. So today I'm using Moda's Essential Dots in pink, just because I'm ready for spring. So I am going to take my tool. If you've done a Dresden before, you know this part. Bear with me. We'll get to the fun part in just a second. I lay my tool on the strip that I have cut 10 inches wide by width of fabric. I cut my blades just like this. So on one blade, that's all we're going to do right now, I am going to, so here's my blade. I'm going to reposition the tool just perfectly on top. You've just cut it out. It's all beautiful and wonderful. So you're going to position it here. I use a friction pin because it disappears with heat. I am drawing what I call my fold line. I'll show you that in just a minute. But I'm just drawing inside the upper window. You see that's a 5-sided, that's a pentagon. So you probably don't know this about me, but I had a hard time in geometry when I was growing up, but I get it now. But that's a pentagon, and I've drawn it on my piece of fabric, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the window. I take my little rotary cutter. Now, if you are very precise or feel like you need a little bit of help with your 1/4 of an inch, there is a line printed on the tool that is a 1/4 of an inch. I'm just going to wing it, so bear with me here. I am going to come a 1/4 of an inch inside the line. You see that? Here's my line. Here's my cut. And I'm going to give myself a 1/4 of an inch on all sides so that I can fold that under. You see, a lot of reverse applique, is raw edge. And while I like it a lot, I prefer a clean edge. You see, I've cut out the inside. Here's the line, here's the cut. I have 5 corners on here. I'm going to snip to each. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm just snipping to each corner. That creates a way for me to fold it back. So you see, I have snipped to the corners. Now I have a new mat, and I don't want to get glue on it because I have a secret weapon called glue. Look, y'all. This. It's Elmer's school glue. Glue sticks. Disappearing Purple is my favorite. So my secret weapon. Oh, how I love school supplies. So what I do now is I'm going to fold back the edges to the back by hitting this with a little bit of glue. Now, this glue is washable. If the kindergartners can eat it and it won't hurt, it's not going to hurt our fabric. So what I do is I glue each side down, but I also, and I'll pick this up and show you, I also hit every snip. You see how I hit the corners? Because I want that really well glued. Okay. So I have hit the back of the fabric, y'all. We're going to glue on the back at each corner and each side with that disappearing glue. It hasn't disappeared yet. That's a good thing. I'm going to roll the corners back, and then I'm going to fold along that line. You see, I said there's going to be a fold line, so you can't see that, I'm sure. But when you're doing it, I turn the fabric toward me. I grab the corners, I press them down, and I'm finger pressing corners to the center. And if I find a little spot that I've missed, I just hit it with some more glue. This is just to get everything, and we don't want any raw edges, so I just hit it with glue. You know, I pretend like that glue is my lipstick. I just smear it on there. It's all great. So I hit it. Now, I always melt the glue with my iron. The reason is because that dries it out, and that keeps my my glue, when I take it to the sewing machine, I don't want my needle this is sign language for needle. I don't want my needle going through gummy glue, right? I don't want to have any problems with that. So my iron is not exactly hot. I'll let it warm up a little bit more. But look, I have an open window. I also have a thread right there. I don't want that thread showing, so I pull that over. I hit it with glue. There you go. So now I'll hit it really well with the glue, with the iron. I'm just counting to 3 or 4 so that it melts there. So now it's all glued down, right? So now we have this open window. So this is a picture window. This is how the name of the tool came about. Now what I'm going to do is we have to figure out what we're going to put in the window. So I'm going to use the dot. This fabric is the Essential Dots from Moda. This is Rosen. It's a Moda fabric also, and I absolutely love it. But look, if you're not a fussy cutter, this is how you fussy cut. I take this and I position it over, look at this luscious fabric. I position it over this fabric wherever it is I want, and I'm going to draw again on my fabric this window. This time I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch outside so that it can go on the back, and it will fit along the edge of the seam allowance that I have in there. So I'm going to pick this little motif right here. It's just so cute. I love pinks and blues together, always have. It has just always been my thing. So I'm in a 1/4 inch. Now again, if you want a fussy cut with a 1/4 inch seam line or seam allowance, you certainly can, using the edge of the tool, a 1/4 inch. Okay? Well, sometimes it does not want to join. Okay. So now I have this, and now I have this. Until I can get to my sewing machine, I need to put these together. The magic glue. So I go back to my glue, and over my seam allowances, see how I've just touched that up with glue? I flip this over and I look at the top, because now I want to position this directly on the top, like so. And I can fidget with it, of course, right? So everybody likes to fidget with their fabric. And then again, I hit it with the iron because I want to melt that glue. I want that glue to be absorbed into the fabric so that it won't be gumming up my machine. Now, look at that. Is that the sweetest thing ever? And then look at the back. I've got a 1/4 inch all around. The very next thing I do, is I go to my sewing machine and I top stitch all the way right on the edge. It's not a quarter of an inch, I mean it is literally right along the edge. Okay, so there's my blade, and once I have 12 of these, I'm ready to put a whole Dresden together. So, the very next step, and I've already got one done, is, I'll show you the stitching, right? I'll show you that I have gone to my machine and I have top stitched all the way around. See, just like maybe a 1/16 of an inch or less. I mean, as close as I can get, a straight line. And I just run it under my needle and go all the way around. So if you're not familiar, now we're going to move to the next step. If you're not familiar with Dresdens, the way you make a Dresden blade with a point is you fold your Dresden blade in half long ways, okay? And you go to your machine and you stitch a quarter of an inch all the way across, okay? Once that's happened, once you've done that on all 12, what I like to do is I trim some of that bulk from the corner. So I trim halfway between the quarter of an inch and the stitch. And I go to my iron. Now some people and some people do every time, finger press that. But for our purposes today, I'm just going to press that seam open. And here's the center line where I folded it so that matches. Now watch what happens when I turn this inside out. And I press, hit that with an iron just so it'll lay flat so you can see. There's your blade. Now if you'll notice, this picture window is a full picture window. This one is an upper. So you see when I stitch it together across the top, it's going to come out looking like this. But look what happens when you have all that done. You just stitch these two sides together and you have a whole Dresden. So to give you some examples of, let me grab this one that I've already done. Here's a small one, as a matter of fact. Let me show you this. This is the 5-inch, so it still takes 12 blades. Now, using that same fabric that I used for the fussy cut, I put 3 blades together. Look at this one. Isn't that fun? So here are 3. I'm going to show you how to sew them together, right? So here are 3. All you do is you lay, whether it's 2 or however many, wherever you are in the process, you lay these 2 raw edges together and you stitch all 1/4 of an inch there, and it creates the unit. So you can see this is what it's going to look like when it's done. And then here's when it's done. So this picture window tool will do an upper and a lower or a full like I just showed you. But this will change the way you start shopping for fabric because look at that. Perfect size for the little window. Love that. Although the color is cute too. The alphabet is cute. Now if you can swing right over here and look, I did one. We live in Texas, and so of course we're fans, right? I mean, we live here. This is our capital, and this is our neighbors. Not really. I mean, I do have neighbors that have longhorns, but this is not the cow from the longhorn pasture. And our flag and so forth. But you'll notice the 2 windows here. You can do all sorts of configurations. If you are interested in this product, please go to AnnieMcHugs.com or find me on Facebook. Facebook, just Annie McHugs. And I'm also on Pinterest, Annie McHugs on Pinterest. You can find me there. So if you're interested, go to the website, give me a call, contact me through Facebook. We just introduced this last week, so we are super excited to get it in your hands and see how many different ways you can come up with something fun to do. Thanks for being here, and have a happy time using our new tool.